Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the North American Bear Center. I would like to thank Camp Buckskin for visiting us today, along with our other visitors that have come in, and our online viewers as well for watching this live podcast. Today we have Honey, our 19-year-old female, is down by the window den. Those of you on the deck or inside can see her all the way to the left. And our other bear that is out is Holly, our 2-year-old female. She is out and about in the big enclosure. And we have Nikki, one of our interns, trying to call her down. We'll see if she comes down for her enrichment snack. We'll talk about Honey while she's here. First thing you notice, she is not black, but she is a black bear. Black bears are one of the only bears that have different colored coats, that different color phase. Honey is what is called a cinnamon phase black bear. So even though she's a black bear, she's still that rich brown color. And here in Minnesota, about 5% of the population will be that cinnamon phase, and the rest are that typical black bear color. Honey has her own story like all the bears about how they came to the center. And Honey came here in April of 2007, right when the center opened. She was about 11 years old. She came from a family in Wisconsin. She's a captive born and raised bear. She was legally bought and owned by a family in Wisconsin, along with Ted, our 18-year-old male. The family had the bears for about 10 years, but then their insurance had changed. The family has a business that's on their property, and the insurance had basically told them it's the business or the bears, so the family looked for a new home for Ted and Honey. They contacted the Bear Center, and the bears came here, like I said, in 2007, right when we opened. They were our first bears to come here. And Honey's that gorgeous cinnamon phase, and you see she's a big girl. She is not typical size for females. She's about 433 pounds. The more average range for a female is between 200 to 300. But she's just a big bear. She's still healthy even though she's larger. And she just has that gorgeous cinnamon coat. And she is starting to shed her winter coat. All of our black bears still have their winter coat. They're starting to shed out. And as Honey sheds out her undercoat and grows into the new one, she gets a little blonder during the summer. But otherwise, she's that nice cinnamon brown color. If Holly decides to join us, you'll see how much she has shedding as well. But I can talk about that if she decides to come down. But Honey is rolling away at what we call a donut. The bear toy we call a donut for enrichment. And you might wonder, why do we do the enrichment and what's the purpose? For animals in captivity, it is very important that they not only get physical stimulation and activity, but mental stimulation as well. Black bears are very intelligent, and think about how in the wild they're roaming around, they're foraging, looking for food. They turn over rocks, they tear open logs, they go up and down the trees, they dig a little bit for food. So here in the enclosure with the enrichment and the bear toys, it helps them do similar activities by turning over the donut that we call it, the round object, or we give them a tube or a cube. They turn it over, they flip it around, they can stick their tongue inside. It helps their minds work and think how to get the food out. Because they know there's food in there. They smell it, they hear it, they go, okay, I know there's food, now how do I get it out? And that's what the enrichment helps them with, helps them to think. And like I said, Honey can also use her tongue. Black bears have a long, sticky tongue. It's 6 to 7 inches long. So she could just stick her tongue through the holes and pick out the snacks. And I know the snacks today, we have some peanuts and cranberries in there. And Honey, I know, enjoys both of those. Honey has her own personality like all the bears do. And Honey is a very independent, solitary bear. She likes her space. Sometimes we say she's kind of introverted like that. She prefers not to be that close to the other bears, and not always a lot of people. She just likes her bubble. She's kind of like, you stay over there, I'll stay over here, and we're all good. She's not a bad bear. She's not a mean bear. She's actually quite a sweet bear when she decides that she likes you a little more. But she likes her space. That's all there is to it. Which is why during enrichment, she's be down here by the window den, one of her favorite hangout spots. And when Holly comes down here, Holly will be closer to the rock den that you can see. Because Honey likes her space. Holly knows it too. And Holly knows to keep her distance, but sometimes Holly likes to test the limits and mess with Honey a little bit. Kind of like that little sister. But female black bears are territorial. In the wild, they have their set territories, and they like their space out there too. So Honey's independent and solitary personality fits along with typical black bear personality. As we wait for Holly to come down, I mentioned she's in the enclosure. We have 2.5 acres of natural woodland. All the plants you see here are native and natural. A lot of them are local bear foods that they eat, from different berry plants to grasses and some nuts. The pond is man-made for the bears' benefit. It's a great way to cool off. Bears are good swimmers, quite strong swimmers, even in the wild. So on hot days like today, it's a good way for the bears to cool off. Because if you think about it, when we're sitting in the sun like today, we're getting warm. It's getting kind of hot for us. Black bears have those thick, dark coats. They get hotter, faster. Their body temp is similar to ours, but their guard hairs, when they're in the direct sun, it can reach up to 120 degrees very fast. So the pond is a great way for them to cool off or swimming in other water. They can lay in the shade or lay down on a cool surface because their bellies have less fur on them than the rest of the body, so it helps that circulation to help them cool down. Honey might go for a swim. I don't know if she has yet today. All of our other bears swim too. Holly likes to splash around now and then. But other things here at the center I can mention that those of you here today or have been here recently, our Northwoods Ecology Hall is almost done. When you walk into the building and look towards the back, you see a very large moose. That is the entryway to the new wing of the building. The Northwoods Ecology Hall is all about the other animals and species that are here in this area of Minnesota that black bears might encounter. The rest of the building is dedicated to the black bears, which is what we do here at the North American Bear Center. It's all about the bears, to dispel the myths and misconceptions about the black bears. There's a lot of untrue facts out there, and we want to put out the right information. So that's why all the other exhibits are all about the bears. But then there's all the other animals, too, that they encounter, and people wonder about those. And that's why we have the Northwoods Ecology Hall. If you take a peek inside, you can see all the different mounted animals, the sceneries they have. Those are all native to the area. There are tanks along the back wall. A large one filled with water is the aquarium. Then there are 3 smaller ones, and each of those tanks will have something different. One tank will have painted turtles, another tank will have a couple of snakes, and another tank will have some different frogs, a few different frog species, all native to the area. And those will be live animals in the tanks that we'll take care of, but then people can see the other wildlife around here. Holly still is deciding not to come down. She might be playing around or taking a nap. I'm surprised she's not coming down. She usually enjoys the enrichment because she likes the food reward, the little treat that comes with it. But Honey is still down and poking at the food below. Cassie, our other intern, is working with her. We're trained to work with the bears, and we always work in twos. So while Cassie's down here, and Nikki's looking for Holly, and it sounds like our director, Judy Thon, our director of education, is helping to try and find Holly as well. But these bears are not trained. It is on their leisure time as they want to in the big enclosure. If they decide to come or not, it's on their terms. All we can do is just try to coax them down and see if they want to come down, but we can't make them. So it's all that they want to do. But also for those of you in the Ely area, if you want to see other wildlife and learn about other local animals, there is the International Wolf Center on the other side of Ely, opposite end from where the Bear Center is. They have ambassador wolves, just like we have ambassador bears, and they're open every day. So you can head on down to them and check them out and meet their wolves like you've been able to meet our bears. And also we have different memberships here at the Bear Center. For those of you visiting or want to plan to visit, we have several different memberships, including family, grandparent, and individual, along with student. Benefits with these is that you get into the Bear Center free for a whole year. You get 10% off in the gift shop. And for a limited time only, you will receive a free gift when you sign up for the membership. I know the Bear Walker DVD is available for a free gift when you sign up. Limited time only. When we run out, we run out. If you want more information about the memberships, please feel free to talk to our sales associates that was at the front desk when you came in for admission, or you can look online. And also for those of you here at the Bear Center that want to understand and learn more about the bears or have questions about the exhibits, find any of us in a red vest. We are the bear educators, and we'd be happy to help with any questions you have, anything you're wondering. That's what we do. Like I said, there's a lot of facts about black bears that aren't always true. And one of those is a lot of people think black bears like honey, that if they go for a beehive, the black bear wants the honey. That's not true, actually. What they want is the bee larva. They don't like the honey. They don't want the honey. They want the bee larva, because that's a source of protein, just like ant larvae. That's where they get a lot of their protein from, is that insect larva. So if a bear is going for a beehive, they don't want the honey. they want the bee larva. That's another thing that leads into black bears do not eat a lot of meat. Less than 10% of the diet is protein, so they don't need a lot of it. Black bears in this area of Minnesota, they do not fish, they don't eat a lot of meat. Most of their diet is succulent vegetation and nuts. There's Holly coming over the rock den. That is Holly, our 2-year-old female, coming over the rock den. She's being tossed a cube. Remember when I mentioned that the bears are all shedding, and that you would see Holly when her shed? She looks a little raggedy right now. She's got some tufts of hair coming out. It's a brownish tint. It's her undercoat that is coming out. She's just shedding. It's perfectly healthy. She's further along in her shed than the other bears. We've taken to calling her Raggedy Holly, kind of like Raggedy Ann. But she is shedding and it's coming out. But along her back, you can see the black color, the flat, black, sleek coat. That's her summer coat, and the hair is finished shedding from that part. It's mostly along her sides now, are still coming out. But it won't take her long to get rid of that extra fur. We do not help them shed. They do not need our help. When bears are walking through the woods, the different branches and sticks that are poking out catch the loose hair and act like a natural comb. Nature does the work for them, or the bears can rub up against trees, roll around. The bears in our enclosure will rub up against the fence and get some of the hair off. We can see some of it caught in the fencing when we walk along. Or they might scratch it themselves to get that loose hair out. So they don't need our help to get it. They got themselves taken care of. And now that Holly's here, I can talk about her story, and how she came. Holly is our 2-year-old female. You can see much taller than Honey. She's 165 pounds, so she's smaller. She will probably get a little bit bigger as she matures. She'll mature a little more since she's still young. But her story is much different than Honey's. Holly was born to a wild mother, but from the state of Arkansas. She had been separated from her mother in a wildfire, and a family had picked her up, taken her in. They wanted to try and help the young cub, and they meant well doing that. But it is illegal to take a bear out of the wild. You cannot just take the animal out of the wild. And remember I said with Honey, she was captive born and raised. To own her, the family had permits and licenses and followed certain regulations. So even though the Arkansas family meant well trying to help the bear cub, they went about it kind of the wrong way. You can't just take a bear and try to raise it. The best thing they could have done was call a rehabber if they needed help. But the Arkansas Fish and Game found out about them having the bear cub, so they confiscated her to take her to a rehab facility so she could try to get some help and they could work with her. But there they determined she could not be released back to the wild, so she had to find a permanent home or else she would have been euthanized. They contacted the Bear Center, and we gladly took her in. Holly came here December of 2013 when she was 11 months old, and now she's 2.5, so she's been here for about 1.5 years. Her personality, much different than Honey. Remember I said Honey is very independent and solitary? Holly is very playful and very curious. She likes playing, and she'll run around the enclosure sometimes, sniffing around, exploring, batting at bushes, climbing trees, splashing in the pond, a little rambunctious now and then. Very playful, curious young bear. Honey doesn't like to play. If Holly gets too close, Honey will tell her, go away, in bear language, which is kind of a huffing sound. She'll huff at Holly, which means, you're in my bubble. I don't want you in my bubble. Go away. You're too close. I don't want to play. And that's just what she's telling her. Holly knows this, like I said, but sometimes she likes to test her boundaries. But Holly's poking around at the food. She has been tossed, and I'm glad she came down so everyone could see her. She's our youngest bear, and Honey is our oldest bear, so it is kind of fun seeing that. And again, if you have questions about these two bears, ask anyone in a red vest. And once again, thank you everyone for coming in today. Thank you Camp Buckskin for coming in. Thank you to our visitors here with us today, and our online viewers watching the live podcast. We have these enrichment programs every day for the rest of the summer at 11, 1, and 4. So if you're going to be here later today, your wristbands are good for the entire day until we close at 6. So for our visitors, if you want to, you can go out, have lunch, explore Ely, but you can come back for the other programs at 1 and 4. 4 o'clock is always the bear dinner, so you can always come back to the Bear Center, watch their dinner, then be able to get some of your own. And if you're not here at the Bear Center and you still want to watch, you can watch online, like I said. bear.org is our website. We have live cameras, and we use one of the live cameras for this podcast, and that is the Pond Cam, the PTZ Pond Cam. We use that for this live podcast, so even our online viewers can watch the bears while we're talking here. As we see, Holly just kind of scooted off as Honey walked near her. Honey is going to check out Holly's cube. She wanted to see if she left anything behind. So Honey's kind of like, you going to keep walking? Because I want to see what you got, if you left anything behind. And Holly's like, yep, I'm going to move away. And they'll do their thing. And Holly will sit down and work with the cube, see if Holly left anything behind. Because I know Holly likes the cranberries, so I don't doubt she went for those first. Not always a big fan of the peanuts that are in there, so if there's any peanuts left, Honey will probably go for those. So as we're watching the two female bears do their thing, and we enjoy getting to see them, thank you once again for coming in, everyone, and we hope you tune in for another podcast.